this recap. I have a lot to say. I haven't, I'm not up to date, so I'm only on episode 7, I think. I don't know how many episodes I'm gonna talk about in this video. I want to keep it, I want the video to be at 30 minutes at the most, I think. And so I'm just gonna aim for 2 episodes, and if I can fit another 1 or 2 in that 30-minute time frame, I will do so, and then that will set the tone for all of the other parts. If this is your first recap with me, I am very chaotic. I'm not here to state facts. I'm not gonna give you a full play-by-play. I'm just really giving you what stuck out to me and my thoughts, and yeah, that's that on that. You don't have to agree with me. I'm okay with that. And if this is not if you don't like the show or this is not the content for you, that's totally fine too. I appreciate you for being here anyway. Before we jump into the video, don't forget to comment and subscribe to support the channel. Also, if you're interested in some more content from me, feel free to take a look at my channel memberships. I have two tiers for you guys to choose from, and the link is in the description box. So without further ado, let's jump in. I'm excited to talk. I love to talk about other people's lives and be in other people's drama that don't have anything to do with me. So I'm gonna be reading from my notebook here. So we open up episode 1, and immediately I'm thinking we're seeing more and more people of color each season. I have watched every single season of Love is Blind. I really like this show. I like to watch it a lot more when my boyfriend is around, but I've watched this one mostly alone. But anyway, so yeah, more and more people of color each season. I really love that. How do we feel about age gaps? Because that they were talking about a lot in the beginning of the season, and I feel I don't know, my boyfriend and I are 3 years apart, or 2 and some change or whatever, and I don't think it makes a big difference. 3 years is not a lot, 5 years is not a lot. I don't know what my limit would be. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, so we open up with Ashley, A, and Tyler, and they're really hitting off. I like them. They're cute. She runs a women and children's nonprofit. I really like her. They're already talking about kids. They're jumping right in at first, right? Then we talk about Dorka. Yeah, Dork with an A. I wrote Nick Dork with an A. And I also wrote that he's living up to his name. I was not all the girls in the beginning were oh my god, he's such a, is he an F-boy? He's such a smooth talker. And I just thought he was a dork. Yeah, actually, it was is he a F-boy? Then he was talking to some girl, Katie, about sports, and he was saying that he played football in college, and he almost went pro or whatever. I don't care about athletes or sports, so none of that stuff really sticks for me. Let's see what else. I said the girls think he's smooth for some reason, and he admits that he's afraid of love. He's way too flirty for me. I don't like it, but he's hitting it off with Hannah, who, by the way, quit her job to be on the show. And I don't know why I wrote she and one other person on the show on this season seemed to be the first big girls. So that was immediately what got my attention from her, even though she's not necessarily a big girl. I think in our society she would be considered plus size. So yeah, that stood out to me. And then we touch base more on that a little bit later. I think more, yeah, we definitely do. And she's hitting it off with Leo, as well as Nick Dorka. And Leo, we'll talk about Leo in a minute. Leo's also hitting it off with Brittany already. Brittany only dates athletes and rock stars. She said that from the beginning. She's also described herself as kind of a seductress. I don't think she used that word necessarily, but she was I can catch people's attention with my eyes or whatever, and whatever. Okay, she's that kind of person, and she says that it's her goal to be a trophy wife. Doesn't align with my type of beliefs, but do you, girlfriend? Oh, she also doesn't cook, but she does do beach cleanups. So she's not completely heartless. Now, she had a date with Garrett, and he came out of it and was like, nope, she's not for me. He didn't like her. And then Garrett has a date with Taylor, and they seem to be hitting it off right off the bat as well. And then we go to like the boys' quarters, and they're all like basically showing each other their cars. I feel like the girls were doing it too, like already talking about who you're talking to in the bots. Like, you need to, keep it a little bit of a secret for a little bit. Then we get to date 2, and Tim is ready to grow up. He's talking to Alex, who is an astrology girly. She's a spiritual girly, and they seem to be really hitting it off. And he starts telling her, like, really opening up about his 2 sisters who passed away, and he was a younger brother. So, just talking about how that's impacted his life. He's already in love at this point. You can totally tell. Okay, and then we got to Tyler and Ashley A again, and he's also already in love. He's basically like, you can have my phone password. I think we should share. And then we cut to, Ashley's really feeling him as well. Like, they're just, I love to see it. I love them. Their dynamic was so cute. I really like them straight from the beginning. Leo and Britt, we're back to them, and they seem very into each other. Let's see. Something about a fiance. Were they already talking about being fiancés on the second day? Sheesh. She seems like she kind of wants to be not fully taken care of, but she kind of asks him the question, like, do you believe in like this 50-50 relationship thing? And he was kind of like, no, because if I make more money, I don't mind being like a bigger percentage. And she was like, okay, good, because as a woman, it takes a lot to like get your hair and your nails done and all this stuff. And in my last relationship, I was taking care of 100%. So she's already kind of giving off the vibe, like, you need to have money, I need to be maintained, kind of thing, which is good, to be putting all your cards out on the table and being really clear from the beginning. It's only day 2, but you want to just be honest if you're really looking for a husband. And then let's see what else. Okay, so now Leo starts feeling a little bit insecure because he has a lot of money, and his biggest fear is that women only like him because of his money. So he kind of explains that to her. So she kind of assures him, like, if she wanted to marry for money, she would have done so already. And then I guess he just kind of brushes it off, because then they start talking about baby names, and how her name is going to be Brittany Brody in the future. And let's see. So I feel like I wrote this. I feel like he's bragging about his money a little bit. So he he inherited his family's business. Most of his family members died of cancer within like 3 years of each other, and so he ended up, it being passed on to him, which is great and all. But he's like, oh, it's like a really big insecurity of mine for people to know that, and like, I don't want anyone to judge me because I'm an entrepreneur, blah blah. Like, whatever he was saying just seems so disingenuous to me, because why are you bringing it up so much if it's such a big insecurity for people to like see you a certain way because of it? You could have just said nothing. But anyway, so let's see. He starts talking about he really likes Anna because she's so curious, and he like wants to teach her about the world and art and stuff or whatever. And then so he goes on a date with her and tells her that he had a dream of her, and he talks about how he doesn't want his job to define him, but again, that's all he's been talking about. But he's really hitting it off with Anna, and he says that they're like twin flames. So she thinks that he's fascinating, but she's also open to, dating other people right now. So now I believe it's day 3 at this point, and she's talking to Nick Dorcas, and he keeps bringing up his looks and like how he's gonna find her so hot, and he's like flirting with her like in a way that kind of insinuates that she's just like this hot woman, and he doesn't even know what like she she looks like. And he's talking about how he can't wait to hold her and like see her in a bikini and all this stuff. I don't think he necessarily says a bikini, but it escalates to that later on. I think he was just like, oh, we're both gonna be like on the beach in our bathing suits. He can't wait and all this. And he like is super, super into her. Oh, hang on, I got my pen. My pen is in here so I can enter the beach. Yeah, so she's like eating all this up. She's really loving it. And then we cut to Garrett and Taylor, and he brings chess for her. I really like them. They have this like super smart, nerdy vibe to both of them, and they just kind of click on a very intellectual, like smart level, which is really cool. And then the topic of race comes up. She basically says that she doesn't want to say her mom's first name because it's going to give away her race, and that's going to give away what she looks like. And I feel like, is Garrett panicking right now? Like, is he's like, oh, I've only ever dated white girls, and like, you know, it feels like you're hiding something, and it feels like you're curating your image or whatever, which I guess is kind of valid because the way that she's like saying it kind of seems like she's kind of being sly and kind of hiding something. But I can also understand why you would want to hide your race in a situation like this. Like, they're really supposed to be getting to know each other without knowing what the other looks like, and yeah, your race is a huge part of that. So I think they're both like, I'm not really too cool with his reaction, but I understand a little bit where he's coming from with the whole curating the image thing, but I also understand where she's coming from with not wanting to disclose her race. And then they have a pretty decent conversation about it, and it seems like, you know, like he understands, but at a certain point I was like, why does he need to know her race so bad? Let's see. Yeah, and then I said, you know, it seems like he's understanding that she just wants to feel like she's enough without someone knowing, you know, even just a small part of what she looks like. So, you know, that conversation warmed up, and then we switched to Tyler and Ashley again. And yeah, so he's talking about how he doesn't believe in like roles in the household. So like, he'll cook, he's not gonna expect her to cook all the time, he's not gonna expect her to clean all the time. You know, if they need to order in, they order in, like that kind of stuff, which is really good to hear from a man, and I hope it's true. And then he says that he really likes to be the protector, and they seem to have a lot in common in these aspects. And then he starts talking about his mom and his grandma, and you know, his relationship with them. His mom had she was put out by her father when she was pregnant, for dating outside of her race and having a baby outside of her race. So she basically raised 3 children on her own, and then the grandma passed away, and yeah, just like, it really built a connection between them, and I just love them. I think they're so good. And then he goes back to talk to the boys, and he tells Leo that he feels safe with her, which is so beautiful. Leo, on the other hand, is debating between Brittany and Hannah at this point. And Hannah thinks that Nick D is too flirty, and she's kind of second guessing him, but she doesn't really want to cut him off, but she really thinks that she should. So she's like a little bit conflicted, and she's talking to the girls about it. And he tells Leo that he wants to propose to Hannah. And at this point, I wasn't really digging Nick. Like I said, I feel like he was too flirty, and I just found him to be kind of like corny and cheesy, and I just didn't really appreciate him. So I was like, like, he can go. I think it's fine if he leaves. And then let's see. So then they're in the pods, and she starts talking about how she has concerns. So she's talking to Nick D in the pods. And she said that it just kind of seems like he's been looking for the wrong thing, and she wants someone who's just like sincere and genuine. She says that guys like him like her in the real world, and she doesn't want to have to feel perfect all the time and like have this beautiful image. And she cheerleader in high school, so that creates a certain image for her. And then she said she feels like he says the right things, but her gut is telling her no. So she thinks it's not working, and he needs to work on who he wants to be. And she has a better connection with others, is what she says. And at this point, I'm thinking, I don't really like Leo either, so I am just confused on what this girl is thinking at this point. But Leo is her number one. Now, as she's saying that Leo is her number one, she's within the girls' quarters, and Brittany walks in, and she lets Leo's name slip. So now she knows that Brittany was just with Leo, and she's thinking, oh my god, did I just make a mistake by dumping Nick D? Yeah, so now she's kind of regretting it, and then we're moving on to episode 2. Now, in the beginning of episode 2, we are with Monica and Steven. They're talking about emotional intelligence and like how important communication is, and how imperfection is also beautiful, and they're just having a really nice connecting conversation with each other, and they seem to be pretty into each other and on the same page. I think Steven said something about how you like someone for their qualities, but you love them for their flaws, which I thought was really beautiful, so I wrote that down. He talks about how he is a cheater because he slid into someone's DMs. He said that he was flirting with intention. I appreciate that he brought that up and was honest about it, although I guess it might be debatable on whether or not that's really considered cheating. Would I consider that cheating? Probably not. I'm gonna be pissed, like for sure. I'm gonna be mad at you, but if nothing physical happened, I'm not gonna call it cheating, really. But flirting with intention is arguably just as bad. So anyway, moving on. She's really compassionate about it, and they talk about how they're gonna go on a date tonight. So now we go back to Hannah, and she's still whining about Nick, and how she may have made a mistake. So she requested a date with him, and is praying that he didn't already leave because she knows that he wasn't talking to anyone else. So now we go to Brittany and Leo, and she tells him about how Hannah knows about them being on a date. So she doesn't want any negative energy. She didn't mean to tell her, and he appreciates her honesty or whatever. I think he's just a big phony at this point. Like, I'm so over this guy. And then, but at the same time, I think that they, like him and Brittany, are a better fit than he would be with Hannah. That's my opinion for now. And then let's see. So she's talking about, okay, yeah. So now she's feeling a little bit sad, and obviously feeling like a little bit like second best, and it's not an ideal situation to be in. So I understand her. I get where she's coming from. She's feeling a little sad. And she says that, and she basically is like, I'm not gonna beg for you. And then he says something so stupid. He says before she was his number 2, but now he has 2 number 1s. Like, was that supposed to make anybody feel better? Leo, do you think? Like, oh, I can't with this guy. But then she still continues on to say that she can still see herself being married to him because he asked her. He asked her if she could, and she said yes. It's all very dramatic, but then we got to Nick D, and he's cheesing it up with Hannah. Because, like I said, she just broke up with him, but now she's like, oh, come back. Like, I want to cat's farm, which is also really sweet. And they're just so cute. Part of the symbolism behind the avocado was like a timeline for when she has kids, and he's like, you know, he might want kids sooner, and they might need to compromise on that. And she says that, you know, there's really no need to compromise because she feels excited with him, and knows that he'll bring meaning to her life, and you know, life will happen the way it should. Basically, is what she's saying. Then we cut to Marissa, and we haven't really seen Marissa yet, except for in the girls' quarters, and Bowden. Bowden, same thing. We haven't really seen it much, but they're cute. They're talking about books, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, fantasy books, that kind of stuff. He tells his story about when he was in the military, and this camel almost killed him, and then he talks about how he went to Ukraine to help in their war as well, and you know, he starts crying, gets really emotional, and she's also in the Navy, so she's really like identifying with the story, like it's really hitting home for her. And I just wrote they're cute, I guess. But then she goes on a date with Ramses, and again, Ramses we haven't seen dating anyone. He's just been in the boys' quarters, and she seems really comfy with him, and he's really into her, and he's foreseeing a love triangle. Because he knows that she's talking to other people as well, but he knows also that she is his number one. Like, he's not interested in anyone else, but she could possibly potentially be interested in someone else. That's not him. So yeah, he talks about how he was married for 4.5 years, and they were really religious, and you know, it didn't really work out because he kind of walked away from the religion a little bit. You know, he strayed from it, and it just didn't work out between them. I really like their dynamic together. I know they can't see each other, but I like how they look together visually as well. He talks about like masculinity, expectations, and gender roles, and how he doesn't have like a standard for that, which is really cool as well. And she seems to be open, like she's open as well. They seem to be on the same page with that kind of thing. And he's basically like, you know, what would you do if I proposed right now? And she just said that she needs more time to explore things with Nick. Not Nick, what's his name? Bowden. To explore things with Bowden. She didn't say that part, but that's, you know, implied. So then we're in the girls' quarter, and Taylor is talking to one of the girls, I forgot who, and Garrett sends her a bouquet of sunflowers, which she said earlier was her favorite flower. They were also talking in the pods about, you know, her being his girlfriend by the end of the day, and she was like a little bit playing she said she was playing hard to earn, okay? So he sends her these flowers, and with a cute little love note, and he was like, you know, check yes for girlfriend, or, you know, no, check yes or no for girlfriend or whatever, and obviously she checks yes. And then we cut to Alex and Tim, and I completely forgot about them by this point. They're having really deep conversations. I think he was also in the Navy. There's a lot of Army people in this season, or like military people, not Army people in this season. Much respect to them. I realized afterwards that they're from DC, which makes a lot of sense why there's so many military people. So they're talking about that. They're talking about religion, the Nation of Islam, family legacies, and stuff like that. And they seem to really be on a similar page and understanding each other, which is really cool. I'm gonna take a sip of water because I am getting a little bit hoarse, and it looks like maybe I can do 3 episodes. Let's push it a little bit. What do you think? Drink some water. Okay. I was really liking them, feeling their vibes together. Then he talks about how he gets to give his parents one more daughter. It's so beautiful. He gives her a gift of like a bracelet that belonged to his sisters, and it's just really beautiful. He feels really close and grateful for her. And then we cut over to Garrett and Taylor again, and she is reading her grandparents' love letters to him, and they're like doing Breaking Bad references, and they're just so cute. And then I just know he's gonna propose at this point, and I believe he did. So they're the first couple to propose on the show. And then we cut over to Monica and Steven. also found out about his heritage. He did a 23andMe and realized that he had a lot of West African heritage, and so he studied up on West Africa. And then she talks about how she's been confused by race as a Black Latina, like, you know, ethnicity. And as a Latina, I totally understand where she's coming from, being mixed race. She specifically talks about like standardized testing and answering the race and ethnicity question, and how confusing that was for her. And yeah, I get it. I've been there. So let's see, where am I? I lost my place. Yeah, they're pretty cute together, I guess. But then we cut to Tyler and Ashley A again, my favorites. They're like eating together. He wrote a prayer for her. It was so beautiful and heartfelt. And he tells her like he feels really safe with her, and like he doesn't feel judged ever. And then they're like listening to music together, and it's just so sweet. He tells her he loves her and that she's safe and protected with him. And then we cut over to Garrett and Taylor. And they're meeting for the first time, and it was just really adorable. They looked really sweet together. They both seemed super happy. Before they met, I thought about it again, and I was just like, I don't think that her race is going to be an issue based on how their relationship has gone up until now. So let's quickly talk about episode 3, and then I'm going to end the video after that. Yeah, so we see the rest of Taylor and Garrett meeting, and they look really good together. I like it. And then we're on a date with Ramses. Oh no, I'm sorry. We're not on a date. Ramses and Bowden are in the boys' quarters, and they realize that they're competing against each other for the same girl. So now we go on a date with Bowden and Marissa, and he tells her that they know. And we find out that he was also married before. I said lots of military folks. And then he and Ramses, they find out that he and Ramses are pretty much the same person. And he asks if it's a yellow flag, him being in the military. And she totally says yes, which is kind of weird because she was also in the military. But also I get it because she knows the kind of toxic masculinity that you can be exposed to in a military setting. But anyways, so where am I? I lost my place. They're both very nerdy, I said. It seems at this point like she's kind of leaning towards him because they're really hitting it off. But then she has a date with Ramses, and he brings up Bowden, and he says how it was kind of scary for him, and that he needs kind of reassurance. And I think that him opening up to her like that really kind of tilted the scales in his favor, because it seemed like she was really receptive to that kind of communication. Let's see. And then they're talking about kids and responsibility and, you know, just like real life thing, and they seem to be on the same page, which is really cool. So now I'm a little bit, I don't know where she stands. So then we cut over to Tim and Alex again. And Tim is talking about how he needs a strong-willed woman, someone who's going to bite back at him because he can be really strong-willed as well. They look like they have a lot of fun together, which is cute. And then we cut over to Tyler and Ashley, and it's Tyler's birthday. He reads her, she reads him her words. That's what I wrote. That was like a weird way of saying that. But yeah, so she reads something that she wrote to him. She really loves him. She feels safe. And she's ready to jump in with him. He's crying. And then he proposes. And I totally love them. They're just so beautiful. And I love to see black love. Like, lots of black love on this show. In this season. Alright, so I'm tired of Brittany. She's just like complaining a lot, and it seems like she's just not emotionally built for this kind of show, or I don't know. I'm kind of annoyed with her. Like, I don't know, if I was her, I would have just left at this point. Just know, like, if I was so uncomfortable with the situation, I would just leave. And she just like is very torn on whether or not she should leave for some reason. But let's see, so where are we? She goes in and she starts like he doesn't want to lead her on, but she's tired of being like this sweet girl, so she's really pushing him. And he says, my advice to you, Brittany, is for you to wait until I talk to Hannah, so you can decide from there. Like, what? That's your great advice to Brittany. That's your great advice to the woman that you're about to propose to, supposedly. Like, what? Oh, this guy. Let's see. Oh, and so she's like, he's like, I'll tell you about our date tonight. And she's like, why don't you sleep on it? And he's like, oh my god, you're so smart. Like, give me a break. Give me a break, bro. Let's see. Yeah, she says she wants to have a fun date tonight instead. And yeah, I just think they're very annoying and dramatic. And maybe they are a perfect match for each other for that reason. So now he goes on a date with Hannah, and he talks about how he's financially blessed. And then he asks if she will sign a prenup, and automatically she agrees. And it seems like he just really loves to feel praised and validated. Like, he just loves for someone to stroke his stupid ego. Let's see. And then she starts talking about her weight. And he's like, I would love you even if you were 500 pounds. Like, as a fat girl, people say things like that really irk my nerves. And then move on to Hannah and Nick D, and they're talking about they're talking about finances as well. She brings up the weight thing again, and she brings up the bikini comment. He apologizes because he thinks that she has a beautiful soul, and it doesn't matter what she looks like, he is attracted to her soul. So she seems really into it, and I think it should be them together and Leo with Brittany. But there would definitely be drama, like when they all meet each other. Like, I knew that part for sure. Now, to remind you, I'm only on episode 7, so I don't know if or when they meet yet. So now, let's see. Okay, so now we got to Steven and Monica, and they are definitely into each other. They both want to feel wanted. I don't know, I put love in quotes, and I'm not even sure why, but they're both crying. And then we cut to Tyler and Ashley are gonna meet, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait. And he's literally like, damn. Okay, as you should, as you should. I am really, really rooting for them. And then we cut over to, and she just looks so, like, adoring. Like, I just love them. I love them so much. Okay, and then we cut over to Hannah and Nick D. And it seems like she likes him now and thinks that he's deep, and it was a her problem and not a him problem. Let's see. Yeah, she thinks that there's more to him than what people see, and he totally loves her too. And then we cut over to Leo and Britt, and he asks, like, to talk about, like, what kind of ring she would want when he proposes. And she's like, well, I'm only gonna tell you if you're only asking one person. And he's like, well, I was planning on asking both of you or none of you. And at that point, there goes their fun date, because she is going off. She's like, how does that make sense? Why would I want to talk rings to someone? Like, if I'm talking rings to my husband, it's because he doesn't have another girl on the side. Like, she has a major point here. Like, you need to pick, bro. Like, you need to pick. And yeah, he's just really not helping his case. But then he saves it by describing, like, her ideal ring, and he's like, you see, I know you, baby. Like, I'll punch you in your throat, Leo. I'll punch you in your throat right now. Sorry, I didn't mean to get violent, you guys. But she's totally into it. I think it's super cringy, the whole situation. But she's definitely less mad, because it seems like he knows her so well. Like, give me a break. Anyway, she still is uncomfortable and, not happy about the situation that he's so torn between two women. And she feels like she's gonna resent it, regardless of who he ends up choosing. She's gonna resent it either way. And at this point, I think they should just both go home. And it feels really forced. wants to know who he's gonna be. What he says, I want to know who I'm gonna do by the end of the night to the boys. Why would you say it like that? Disgusting. And then Hannah is gonna go break up with Leo, and he doesn't even know. So he's totally caught off guard and disappointed, and he's like whining and acting like this huge baby, and like totally gaslighting her into thinking like she was the reason that he didn't tell her his true feelings like a long time ago, and now all of a sudden that she decided that she loves somebody else, he like has all these big feelings now, and Brittany's second best, but like that's not what you were seeing a second ago, bro. Let's see. I said homie is trash. Let me see. Wait, did I miss anything? Yeah, he just wants both of them to want him, and he's totally gaslighting her, and yeah, he's totally trash. And I totally hope that she tells Brittany expeditiously, and then he starts berating her. He's like, what would you say if I asked you right now? What would you say? And he says it like twice, and she's like sobbing and crying and telling him like, this is not a position that I want to be in. Like, I can't answer this question right now. And like he's like totally flipping his crap. And yeah, that's where we end the episode. So stay tuned. Stay tuned, you guys, for part 2. I will be posting it next week. I just don't want these videos to be like an hour long, so I'm bringing it up as much as I can. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support